We are officially locked in 2024 as the first Weekly Shonen Jump manga of the year just released. It is called Super Psychic Policeman Chojo, and it's by the returning mangaka Shun Numa. Now, this is my first manga from him, but he's done Summon the Summoner back in 2015, which is a Shonen Jump manga that still run a respectable 10 volumes, and the people that I know that have read it have an overall positive opinion of his work. So, let's see what's the new output. Well, the first thing that caught my eye was honestly the designs. There's this shiny, bubbly, almost candy-like style to Numa's art style that allows for designs to be very pleasing to the eye. They're very cute. I honestly wouldn't wug the main characters, and honestly, even the ugly characters are kinda adorable. But alright, what's the story actually about? Well, it's a buddy cop manga about the two main characters. Now, Ippongi, a rookie police officer, and her senior partner, Meguru Chojo, which both work in a small, often ignored police station in the middle of an entertainment area. Oh, and Chojo is also psychic that can read minds. The thing is, in this world, psychics are normal, and they often find themselves working with the police force. We are told at the beginning they tend to work in bigger places like the FBI or the CIA, but some of them, like our main character, can't find jobs that high and find themselves in smaller police stations. And that's mostly it for the overarching plot of the manga. This chapter will mostly follow now as she learns how to deal with the partner that can read minds. Most people tell her that she shouldn't do it because, well, she would have no privacy at all with a partner that can know everything that she thinks of. And while she does her best to ignore the cries of her friends when even the police chief warns her about her partner, she becomes a little bit more weary. And the worries of her peers aren't really unfounded, as we find out throughout the first chapter that Chojo isn't really reserved when it comes to reading minds, babbling pretty much all the exposition that we need to know about now when she suggests that both of them should get to know each other better. It's a page that really got me a visceral reaction of hate towards Chojo that not even now comes close to, as she only blurts out a joke about him looking like he's reading a Wikipedia page about her. But I mean, she's trying her best to be able to work with him, and he's just like this. Yes, I like now. What about it? She's cute and precious. But she does not need to be protected because, as we learn throughout her story, she is the daughter of a judo master. And she's been basically throwing around all the bad guys that she met throughout her life, culminating in destroying a man who sexually harassed her that just so happened to have been her superior, and that's why she's stuck here with Chojo. I will destroy him. The main bad guys of this chapter, however, are a group of Yakuza that are want revenge on Now after she beat them over and over again while they're trying to take her dojo. They catch up to her and start destroying the dojo with a bulldozer until Chojo appears and magics the bulldozer all over them. And with this, they become closer, with the chapter ending with Chojo giving all the glory of the event to Now, which sounds like a nice thing to do until we realize that now people think that Now threw an entire bulldozer at a Yakuza gang. So, it's rare for me to be so divided on a manga. There's things I really liked in it, but also some gripes that may affect my enjoyment of it going forward. First of all, I want to say that the manga so far is good. I like the art style a lot, as I mentioned before. I think the main duo is funny, and honestly, the entire manga is very funny. This is more of a gag manga than anything else at this point, and this chapter had one or two jokes that actually made me laugh out loud, which is very rare for a manga to do. And overall, I think this is a manga that can be a very enjoyable read in the midst of all the other manga in Jump. And it also has some room to eventually become a battle shonen or even preferably a detective manga of some sorts. And, you know, I'm all for enjoying a manga for what it is and for what it isn't. And old viewers of the channel actually know that I'm a big fan of gag manga in general, but I can tell you that I wasn't disappointed when Super Psychic Policeman Chojo, a manga about a policeman that can read minds, isn't a detective-style manga. I love those, and while ITLC sucked, I do think there's a room for a manga like Detective Conan to flourish in Shonen Jump. Hopefully, the manga will follow actual police cases moving forward, as this chapter was mostly about Nao's story and her enemies. However, the main problem I have with the manga is more on Chojo as a concept, less the character and who he is, and more so the idea of having a character that can read minds and how the manga handles it. First of all, it's a dangerous power to just give to a good character, because it is a naturally dark one. I think the manga, for the most part, does a good job at addressing these concerns in this chapter. It tried to bring the problems of a character like this existing, and then try to establish that despite all of that, Chojo is still a good person. He still uses his power for good, and we even established that he's a police officer because he emphasizes a lot with the people that he reads the minds from. And that's all nice and dandy, but does he constantly need to be reading people's minds? Because he constantly peers and learns and invades people's privacies, and one could argue that that's because he can't control his power, but that's not seem to be the case. There are a couple of instances in this chapter that seems to indicate that he has the control and that he chooses when and who to read minds. But if that is the case, then Chojo is an unredeemable asshole, reading everyone's minds just because. On the other hand, there's also the crux of the final segment. Chojo acts like Nao doesn't want to be his partner, that she doesn't want to be in that police station, but she does. It's a misunderstanding that should not exist if he's reading her mind. There's probably a lot of tropes and basic story structures that won't work when your main character can instantly know everything about all the characters around him. And that's cool, that's not a bad thing, but if the author still relies on these tropes right from the first chapter, even if they don't make sense, what does that mean for the manga going forward? I don't know. Again, overall, I like this chapter. I hope to see this manga get better and better, but honestly, I'm not sure if there's space for a magazine like this right now, with series like Roboko and Witchwatch already thriving. Well, sure, none of them are about police officers. The Comedy Corner doesn't seem to really need more manga right now, but we'll see how it goes. But if you want to hear my thoughts on all the new Weekly Shonen Jump manga as they came out, then consider clicking that subscribe button, because now when you click it, it actually does like a little thing. Try it now. I'm not lying. Just click it out. See it for yourselves. And if you want to check out all my previous first thought videos, there will be a playlist popping up on the left. And if you watch it till here, thank you very much. And I'll see you next video.